guys, today I'm going to be doing a follow-up video to a video I put out a while ago that was showing the exercises that I did when I first started on my exercise program for recovery from chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME/CFS. So if you've seen my other video, it was gentle chronic fatigue syndrome exercises for strength building, and I called it level 1. So this is another video with more options for level 1. So if you've already been doing the other one and you're getting tired of those ones and you're looking for something new, this is going to be 10 more things that are right along that same level of difficulty and intensity as that other video was. And if you haven't seen that, this is very simple, very gentle, light, strength building exercises that use no weights, no equipment, and are not strenuous at all. During my 10-year journey with chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME, it took me a really long time to figure out how to make exercise work for me, because for years it just didn't help at all. I just kept getting sicker and it made me feel worse, and I would crash really badly. It was really, really tough. But I was convinced that exercise was going to be a part of my recovery process. So I kept at it, and eventually I put together an exercise program for myself that really was integral for me in getting my health back. It wasn't everything, it was just one piece of that puzzle, but it was a very important piece for me. Now, for those of you that have seen a few of my videos, thank you for your patience, for listening to me say this a zillion times. But always, just in case it's somebody's first video, it's important that I let you know that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical health professional of any kind, I'm not a physiotherapist or a personal trainer. I'm just sharing my own experience of living with and recovering from ME or chronic fatigue syndrome. So nothing that I share should be considered professional advice. So for me, how I was successful with exercise was that cardio had to wait. I didn't do any cardio for a good year, I'd say, aside from a little bit of walking here and there. I focused 100% on building strength, and I had to start so ridiculously small that what I was doing felt like it couldn't possibly be helping at all. Like, it really, even while sick, felt a bit ridiculous. Like, what is this doing? This can't really be helping me. But it wasn't until I started there that I finally was successful with exercise and just was at peace with doing these simple movements and trusting that over time I'd be able to up it. So what I did is I started with 1 or 2 minutes per day, and in the beginning it was actually more like every second day of doing these very gentle strength building activities. And then once I was able to comfortably manage 1 or 2 minutes every second day, then I'd slowly add in a few more sessions each week until I could comfortably do perhaps 5 or 6 times per week of 1 or 2 minutes of exercise. And when I was good with that, then I'd add on another minute. So then I might up it to 3 minutes. But to up it to 3 minutes, I might have to scale back the number of sessions again temporarily. So I might have to go back to every second day until my body adjusted to that 3 minutes, to that longer time period. And then once I felt okay with that, then I'd go back to 5, maybe 6 days per week. Now, I didn't worry too much in the beginning about, was I hitting all my different muscle groups? Old me pre-illness would be scheduling my workouts and being like, okay, it's chest and tricep day, or back and bicep, or legs, or abs, or whatever. But when I first started recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome, I didn't stress about that at all, because I knew that anything that I was doing was going to be helping me. And when I started, I just pick 1 or 2 of these exercises that I'm going to show you today, and I just start there. And then as my workouts got a little bit longer, I'd start adding on more. And I also didn't stress too much about how many sets or how many reps like I used to in my old pre-illness exercise days. It was more just about what I felt like I could manage that day. The numbers didn't matter. I mean, if I were to put out something that ideal that I was shooting for, it would probably be 3 sets with reps looking like something like set 1, 15 reps, set 2, 12 reps, set 3, 8 reps. So in a perfect world, I guess that's what I was trying to do, but I don't think it ever really looked very much like that. For me, it was more about the time. And I actually set a timer, because if I don't, it's just way too easy to do more. It's just too tempting. Like, oh, I'm up, I'm going, we might as well, this feels really easy, I might as well just do one more minute. Boom, and that's where things will fall apart. So I set a timer, and instead of focusing on what muscle group I'm working or how many reps and how many sets I'm doing, I just focused on that period of time. If I'm at 2 minutes, I do stuff for 2 minutes. When the timer goes off, I'm done. Now, I'll be honest, and I've said this in other videos, that exercise pretty much always made me feel worse. Even when I started this really small exercise program of mine, no matter how little, I always did experience some post-exertional malaise. And if there's a way to do this without experiencing that, I would love to know it. But it was, for me, about finding a manageable amount that I could handle. Whereas a 1 to 2 minute workout might make me feel bad the next day, if I kept at it for a couple weeks, all of a sudden that 1 to 2 minute workout didn't make me feel bad anymore. I could do it and feel fine. And that was when I knew it was time to up it. Either add in a few more sessions or make the workouts a little bit longer. And then they were going to start making me feel bad again. I'm not saying this is what anybody else should do. I don't know that this is what you should do, or that this is the right way or the best way or the healthiest way, but this was my experience and this is what worked for me. And I've done many videos on exercise and talking about all the things that I did to support my body while doing an exercise program, because I had to do a lot to work on diminishing the pain that I would experience and the muscle aches as a result of my workouts. And exercise for about the first 6 months made my sleep even worse. So I had to do things to help me sleep better. So I'll link some videos in the video description if you want to check out that and learn more about what I did to support my body and help it recover better and faster and minimize pain during this whole process. A huge cautionary warning with this, because exercise with ME or chronic fatigue syndrome, as far as I've seen, can do incredible damage. It is not something to be taken lightly. It's something that you need to be sure you are okay with, that your body can handle, that your doctor and your medical team, whoever the medical professionals are that you trust, everyone needs to think that this is safe for you. This is not something to dive into lightly. Please be careful. All right, so let's jump into this. I, at this stage, never do a warm-up because everything in this workout would be considered a warm-up. There's nothing heavy, there's nothing strenuous, it's all very gentle movements, so I never felt a need to warm up. So I'm going to walk you through 10 different exercises right now that I did to, if I did them all, would work my body pretty thoroughly, hitting the major muscle groups from my head all the way down to my toes. All right, are you ready? Let's do this. We're going to start with one called the Standing X Crunch. Now this targets all the areas of your abdominals, but it also improves balance and coordination. So you're going to begin by standing with both your feet on the floor, shoulder width apart. You place both of your hands behind your head and draw your ribs to your hips to engage your core. Now bend your left knee and draw it in towards your chest, and at the same time rotate your torso to the left and bring your elbow to your knee. So you're always matching opposite elbow to opposite knee. And then you return to the starting position and repeat with the other side. Now with these exercises, I have a mat that I'm using. So if you have a yoga mat, great. But if you don't have one, that's fine. You don't need it. Next, we're moving on to something called a prone T, and we are targeting our shoulders and our back extensors with this one. So you're going to lie face down on the floor with your arms extended out to the side in a T shape, and then raise your arms and your chest for a couple of seconds off the floor, and then just lower back down. And you just keep repeating this movement in slow, steady repetitions. Now, if you're finding this a bit difficult to keep your head elevated, you can rest your head on a towel or a pillow, and it will help to avoid the neck strain. Moving on to something called a lay down push-up. Now this is going to target your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. So you're going to place both your hands on the mat slightly further than shoulder width apart, and place your feet together on the mat behind you, resting on the balls of your feet. Now extend both arms out in front of you, up over your head. And then bring your arms in towards your body, place your hands on the mat on either side of your chest, and push through your chest and extend your elbows to lift your body, keeping your knees on the floor, and then return to the mat to the starting position with your hands extended in front of your head. And you're just going to keep repeating this movement in slow, steady repetitions. Our fourth exercise is something called wall angels, and this one targets our back, our mid to lower trapezius muscles. So those are the muscles responsible for holding your shoulders back and is really good for improving posture. Standing with your back and your body against the wall, your feet shoulder width apart and heels about 6 inches away from the wall, with your head to the wall, chin down, and the pelvis tilted, causing the low back to touch the wall. Now bend your arms at 90 degrees and rotate your arms so that your shoulders, arms, and back of your hands are touching the wall. Now only go as high when you lift your arms up as you can while still keeping the backs of your hands and your elbows still touching the wall. So you slide your arms up as far as you can while keeping contact with the wall, and then slide them back down to the starting position. Now this next one is called a shoulder tap, and this targets our core, our glutes, our arms, our wrists, our shoulders. It really is a good overall exercise. And what you do is you place both your hands on the mat slightly further than shoulder width apart, and your feet apart on the mat behind you while resting on the balls of your feet. Now raise your right hand to reach across your body to touch your left shoulder, keeping your hips parallel to the floor. And then lower your right hand to the starting position and repeat with your left hand. So you've got your knees and your toes on the floor the entire time, and you are just alternating back and forth between lifting your right arm to touch your left shoulder, back to starting position, left hand, touch right shoulder, back to starting position. Now, a second option for this one, if it feels a little bit too easy for you, is to do this off of your toes. But just know that this second option is significantly more difficult than the first option. Our sixth exercise is a bent leg raise, and this is going to target our core, mainly our abdominals and our hips. So start by lying on your back with your hands beneath your bottom, and bend your knees using your abdominals to draw them in towards your chest, ensuring that your feet stay together. And then just slowly return your legs to the starting position, and that's it. So keep raising and lowering for slow, steady repetitions. Number 7, back leg raises. So the muscles targeted here are our quads and our glutes, and also the lower back. So holding on to a chair, now I know I said no equipment, but I'm assuming that everybody has a chair. Holding the chair, slowly lift one leg straight back, but don't bend your knees and don't bend your toes. Hold that position for 1 second and then gently bring your leg back down. And when you've done as many repetitions as you plan to do on one leg, then you're going to switch to the other leg and do that same amount of repetitions on the other leg. Our 8th exercise is called a lateral lunge, and muscles that this targets are our glutes, our hamstrings, our quads, and our inner thigh muscles. So you're going to plant both of your feet on the floor, shoulder width apart, and keep your right foot on the floor with your left foot, take a big step out to your left. And as you plant your foot on the floor, bend your knee, ensuring that your right leg remains straight. And then just return to the starting position and repeat with the other side. However many you do on one side, make sure you do the same amount on the other side. Number 9, this one's called sit squats, and this is going to target our quadriceps, our hamstrings, our glutes, our abdominals, and our calves. So you're going to keep that chair and place it behind you, plant both feet on the floor, hip width apart, and looking straight ahead, bend at both the hips and the knees, ensuring that your knees remain in line with your toes. And you're going to sit back and continue until you're able to sit down on the chair behind you, and then push through your heels and extend your legs to return to the starting position. Now, the difference between this and simply just sitting down on a chair is the positioning of your body, because when we sit down, quite often our knees will extend past our toes. But when you're doing the sit squats to target these muscles that we are targeting, you want to make sure that your knees are not pushing out past further than your toes when you're doing the motion. And our last one, we're already on number 10. It's going by super fast. So number 10 is calf raises, which targets both of your calf muscles, the inner and the outer. So my calves have always gotten quite tight and sore, so this has been a great one for me for strengthening my calves while also releasing that tension that seemed to build up there. So the first version I'm going to show you is just to hold on to either the wall, or you can keep that chair beside you, and all you do is stand with your feet about shoulder width apart and just slowly push your heels up off the ground and flexing so that you're standing on your toes. Hold it for a second and then slowly lower back down to the starting position. Now, if you want to make it slightly more advanced, don't hold on to anything, and this will also work on your balance at the same time and also strengthening your core. All right, that's it. That's all 10 more examples of exercises that I did that helped me a lot with my chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME/CFS, recovery. Now, I stretched always after workouts, always, because to start with, my muscles already felt really tight and sore most of the time, and then when I started adding in exercise, it got even worse for the first, 6 months-ish. And I had to do things to help alleviate that tightness and that soreness, and stretching was a big one. So I stretched after every single workout, no matter how short it was. I'd do a few stretches, and then I also stretched every single night before I went to bed again, because that tightness and that soreness seemed to build back up again. And I even sometimes would get up in the middle of the night and do some more stretches right from bed. I wouldn't even get out of bed. I would just had a stretching routine that I did in bed. So I've done a couple videos on the stretching routines that I do, so I can link those in the video description as well if you want to check them out. I have one that is more of a post-workout stretching routine, and then another one that is a stretching routine that can be done from bed. Something else that helped me a lot that I will mention is taking really hot baths before I went to bed. Now, I know this won't be suitable for everybody, but for me, it really helped a lot to ease the tension and the aches in my body, and to reduce the pain, and to help me to get to sleep. And I also sometimes had to get up in the middle of the night to take more hot baths to help me get back to sleep. So exercise for a solid 6 months was really rough for me. It really seemed to flare up a lot of my symptoms, and I had to do a lot to kind of try to alleviate and minimize the experience of that. So it wasn't fun, it wasn't easy, but I could see progress. With every month, I was stronger than the month before. And then after about 6 months, exercise actually started making me sleep better, and the aches and the pains and all of this stuff really started to go away. So sticking with it really paid out for me in the long run. I also know that magnesium, again, not a doctor, not recommending this, I don't know if it's good for you, but magnesium seems to be a big one that helps a lot of people with muscle aches and restless leg syndrome. Exercise also flared up my restless leg syndrome, so that was another thing that I had to manage. So stretching, hot baths, and potentially some magnesium supplementation were things that were super helpful for me. I hope something in here was helpful. If you want to use this video as a guide, you can just play it again and mute it and put on some music or the TV or whatever you like, and just bookmark that spot where the exercises actually start, and you'll be good to go. All right, friends, best of luck to all of you with your own ME/CFS recovery journeys. I know it can be incredibly challenging and feel long and tough and overwhelming and hopeless and frustrating and depressing. I get that. Please hang in there. Please keep going. Please keep trying new things. Please keep learning new information, and don't give up until you find your way out of this too. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. If exercise has been helpful for you, or any tips that you have that have helped you incorporate more movement into your life, I'm sure we'd all love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this video, if you could hit the like button, I definitely appreciate it. And if you haven't already subscribed, it's time to subscribe. What are you waiting for? And if you think someone else might find this video valuable, please share it. You can share it on Facebook or Instagram or any of your favorite social hangouts. So that's all for today. I wish you all the best, and I put out new videos every single week, and I hope that you will join me for the next one. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next week.